Greetings, Glitter Gang, and welcome back to Kathryn Scraps Live. My name is Kathryn. This is the evening show for Thursday, October 13th. Welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, this is the finale show for the 2022 Christmas in July project. Yes, it was started in July. Yes, it is halfway through October. It's fine. This happens every year. And that's why the Halloween project never gets finished until Christmas time. So it's fine. We're going to try and turn that around this year with a very simple Halloween project will be coming up next week. The Coffin album, actually shaped like a coffin. Excitement for all. Okay, so this is going to be a skip over. So we're going to skip over the insides of these because honestly, there's no construction. There's nothing you need to know. It's just decorating. It's just matting. And that's nice. And I like to show you all of it because that is my favorite part. But if something doesn't get done within the 2 hours tonight, I'm much more comfortable with it being this because all I'm going to do is put two pieces of pattern paper, put two photo mounts on top of them, put a coordinating something here. We'll do that 4 times and then it'll be done. It'll be cute. It'll look good, but you know, you don't have to see it. You're smart people. You can figure it out. So, we're going to do the harder part first, which is cover, spine, binding, finishing it all up. I know we have some new people tonight who maybe haven't seen this process before. So one of the things is all of my bindings have the same cover and spine process. So once you get the cover and spine process down for one binding, you can do it for all the bindings. Okay. It's easy. It's not a big deal. These are the components that you need. All right. You need the pages of your album and you need to know what size they are. In this case, it's 8.5 by 11. The cover is 1/4 inch wider and 1/2 inch longer. Okay. So if it's 8.5 by 11, you add 1/4 inch to the 8.5, it becomes 8 3/4. You add 1/2 inch to the 11, it becomes 11.5. Do you see these rectangles that I drew to show you the difference? Notice how I stopped drawing rectangles because partway through making these notes, I was like, why am I drawing these stupid rectangles? This does not illustrate anything. So you end up with a slightly larger rectangle. That is this chipboard. Okay. So pages are 8.5 by 11. You want to measure off your largest page. In this case, with this album, it's the red pages. Make sure you measure the tab because that's the true width of the album. So these are 8 3/4 inch by 11.5 inch pieces of chipboard. You need 2. You need a front cover, back cover. Great. Perfect. Fantastic. All right. Next is the spine. The spine is the same height as your cover. So whatever your cover is, height-wise, length-wise, this is your spine. So my spine is 11.5. The width of your spine is determined by the width of your album, and the width of your spine is the width that mine is coming apart because it's just been sitting in my humid office for far too long without a spine, but that ends today. So its real width, not its expanding width, is 4 inches. I'm probably going to throw some glue in here. We'll see. We'll see if it bothers me. Does it bother me? Now it's really annoying me. Oh, I got an idea. All right. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. I got it. Just going to jam some glue in here. And well, we're not using the book, so we can have these paper clips on it. It doesn't have anything to support itself, and it's very heavy. It'll be happier once it has a cover. All right. What about you? You trying, whatever, you can, you can have some glue too. Yeah. All right. Now, all right, so that's just gonna chill over here. All right, so In this case, the width of my spine is 4 inches. All right. And what you're measuring, yeah, get it. We'll give it to them all. I like how it's, I was going to say it's only coming apart on the top. Why is that? Who knows? Who knows? Oh, here's one. Here's what we got a gap down here. Let's just do these 3 too. Why not? This has been handled so much in its unfinished state, and the pages are very heavy. Once the spine and cover are on it, that will help support it. The outside spine and then the covers and all that, it'll kind of put it in a little suspension. That'll help it. But my sister's been up here. She and I have been moving it back and forth, throwing it here and there. It's just been through a lot already in its short little life. You get glue? Yes, everybody gets a glue. Everybody. Just put some glue in there. You don't really need glue, but we'll do it anyway. I don't want you to feel left out. All right. Okay. Now, the spine. The spine, that spine is 4 inches, okay? And that's just the width of all your gutters added together. So in our case, we have 4 1-inch gutters. That's 4 inches. The outside spine is that plus 2 1/4 inches. Boom, done. Every time, no matter what binding you use, that's what you get. This is the other side of the spine. I like to take 2 pieces of pattern paper and sandwich a sheet of TYVEK between them to reinforce them and make them stronger. If I'm going to do what I call an interior, do I call them interior spines? Yeah, I think that is what I call them, interior spines. What an interior spine is a spine that goes between the page block and the outside cover. So, hold on. So, it looks like this. See how it goes under the cover? That's the interior spine. Exterior spine goes on the outside. I do that if I want to use a thicker material like Craftex, and there isn't one just sitting right next to my desk. So I'm just going to go ahead and say you can imagine it in your brain. Earlier today, because I wanted to make sure that this album got done, I glued this piece of TYVEK to this piece of spine. Now, it's not fully dry. I can feel some moisture in it because I did use my favorite glue, which takes a long time to dry. And that is Perfect Paper Adhesive Matte by US Art Quest. If you can find this glue, it is getting harder to find. Check art stores like Dick Blick or places like that, Artorama, places like that. But this is my favorite glue for bookbinding. It's flexible, it is matte, it doesn't leave shiny spots, and it's very strong. It just takes a long time to dry. So if I was doing this not as a show where I was instructing you, so like what I would recommend you do is you would let it just dry overnight. Just let it dry overnight. Okay, hold on. I cut that TYVEK ever so slightly crooked. Okay. Alrighty, so now that I've done that one, I'm going to get out my mat and we'll do the other side. And then we'll let the thing kind of dry under my desk. All right, get a baby wipe. You're going to need it. This makes a mess. All right, so what makes this glue different from your Scotch Quick Dries is, number one, it doesn't dry stiff like Quick Dry does. I guess no one uses Quick Dry anymore. Your art glitter glues, your berry glues, those kind of glues. Your craft type of glues. This is my new technique for putting the glue down. Does this make a difference? I don't think so. Am I still going to do it? Yeah, because I already started. I'm committed now. All right. This glue forms a sheet of acrylic between two things, and it laminates them together and makes them one thing. That's why, and then it remains flexible, it remains soft. It's really nice. So that's why I like it for this purpose. Now, it's very squirmy, okay? It's very wet. It stays wet for a while, so you just kind of have to push it around until it starts to stick. See how now that both pieces are moving together? That's my sign that it's starting to stick. So I want to put it in its final position. See? All right, now. Okay. There's no way to do this without getting messy. You just have to accept it. All right. Okay. So starting from just above the middle, I'm going to kind of angle my way out to the sides. You can see I pushed the glue out the side. You can see right there, that's that. More glue coming out. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to spread the glue in between the two sheets and make like a glue sandwich. And I work from the middle out because I want to push the glue to the edges. You know, I want to make sure that all parts of it are glued. Okay, so now we've done that first pass. I'm going to carefully lift it up. And then I'm going to clean my mat. You can see I have tons of glue just sliming around here. This is going to be a multi-baby wipe. Maybe? Yeah, it's 2 baby wipes. Okay. That's the sound of me straining to get a baby wipe out because my arms are so weak. Just kidding. I'm not that weak. Pretty weak, though. Make sure your bone folder is clean as well. Mine is Teflon, so nothing's going to really stick to it too bad, but you don't want to press your luck, you know. The reason you want to kind of, and I'm working on a Teflon mat as well. You want to kind of get this as clean as possible if you can. All right. Okay. And you start with the spine because it takes the longest to dry. All right, so now you can see it's curling. It's doing all kinds of weird stuff. You can see I got a big smear of glue here. It's not going to matter. Okay, so now I'm just going to work to just kind of make sure everything's going to stick down. So you can see how these edges kind of want to curl. It's very hot and humid in here. Okay. Just keep going over it until it stops doing that. Because the more you go over it, the more the glue is going to dry. Okay. Once it's pretty good, then the best way to let it dry is to just lift up your mat and stick it under there and just let your mat sit on it, and that'll keep it flat. Okay. And if you don't have a mat like this, just put like a dictionary on it. Or anything heavy, your bacon presses, whatever. Just let it sit. You gotta let it sit. That's the main thing. Because this glue needs to sit. That's what it likes. All right. So that's the spine. Spine is done. Well, yeah, spine is done. Okay, now I made my own front cover. Ta-da! So this is what I did. This is all elements from the 12 by 12 collection, the larger collection. Okay, and I have a PSA. If you've ever wondered why you need a special paper to print paper, like why you need presentation paper, why you can't just print on the cardstock you already have, this is why. This is the back of my Epson matte presentation paper. Okay, so this is the same paper as this, but it's the uncoated side, it's the back. So make sure also when you get a new paper that you figure out which side is the coated side and which side is the uncoated side, by printing something on both sides of a sheet and then like putting your stack so that the correct side is facing up, you know, which is what I do. So once I know which side is coated and which side isn't, I put it in a box, coated side up, so that I could just pick it up and stick it in my printer. But it's a big difference. This is the same paper, okay? This is the same paper. It's not a different brand. It's the same box of paper from the same company. So it's not like two different boxes of the same paper. This was on top of this one. So this is just the back. So because it doesn't have the special coating, the colors don't pop. And this is why you don't just use regular white cardstock, okay? If you've ever wondered, that's why. All right. So that's just your little PSA for the evening. And over time, if you always use the same brand, you'll just get used to how it feels and you'll know which side is up. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just quickly scooch over to Photoshop and I'm just going to show you how I made this. If you want to do it yourself, I'm not going to like real time it or whatever, but I am going to go over it so that you can see. Okay. So I'm just going to explain what I did, and that way you can do it yourself if you want to. All right. So let me just switch to the PC desktop. All right. So here I'm in Photoshop. Okay. So the bottom layer is, oh, and by the way, this piece is 10 3/4 by 13 1/2. I don't know if I mentioned that your cover paper that you use to wrap the chipboard needs to be 2 inches longer and 2 inches wider. So my cover is 8 3/4 by 11 1/2, and so therefore my cover paper is 10 3/4 by 13 1/2. So that's what this is, 10 3/4 by 13 1/2. So what I did is I took this page, which is Dreaming of Sugar Plums number 11, and I resized it to be a 13 1/2 inch square, and I used that as my base here. And it's the same on the back cover as well. I used it for both the front cover and the back cover. Okay, so this is a 10 3/4 by 13 1/2, and I enlarged the paper so that the print would be a little bit bigger. So I enlarged it from 12 by 12 to 13 1/2 by 13 1/2. All right, so that's how we got this background here. Then I used Dreaming of Sugar Plums number 6, and this is the one that is in the center of the piece. So if we go back to the craft desk, that's what's behind the window or whatever. Okay, so that's that one. And it is done what I did with it is because I wanted this to have a 1 inch of the background paper all the way around. So we know my cover is 8 3/4 by 11 1/2. So to have 1 inch of the background paper all the way around, I needed to end up with something that was 6 3/4 by 9 1/2. So this is 6 3/4 by 9 1/2. Or I made this 6 3/4 by 9 1/2. So what I did is I turned it into a 9 1/2 by 9 1/2 square, and then I just cropped the sides until I had 6 3/4 in the middle. And so that is what this is. Okay, so if you see here, if I put it on top, you can see that's what it is. Okay, then what I did to get the border all the way around it, notice how the border stays with it. Even if I move it to the top layer, that border is a layer style. Okay, so I'm just going to show you the layer styles so you can see what I did. So first off, you can see that I have a bevel going down that is 25 pixels. That's what makes it look pushed in, like it's in a frame. All right, so I used the bevel. So if you want something to look pushed in, debossed, okay, then that is what you do. You do bevel down, okay? If you wanted to look pushed up and embossed, you would use bevel up. So I just did a 25 pixel bevel, so that's just going to push it down with a 25 pixel curve around the edges to make it look like it's inside the paper. And then the way that I got that border all the way around is by stroking. So you can see here that I did a 50 pixel stroke, and I did it at 100% opacity, and I did it with a red that I lifted from the paper collection with the eyedropper tool. But I will just read you its code, and its code is 9F as in Foxtrot 2438. So if you wanted to do this exactly, okay, if you wanted to do this exactly, this is the color, and then this is the layer settings, okay? All right. Okay. So, yes, it's okay. Okay, go away. Okay. Then what I did for these bars is I just took the line tool and I made a 50 pixel width line in the same color as the stroke around the outside that is the frame, and that's how I got these bars like a window. Okay. And then the joy to the world in the middle, it is, and I'm going to show you the layer style as well on this one. Okay. And I'll explain what I did to get it the color that I got it and whatever. So I pulled it from this page. Wait, I got to get out of here. Sorry. I pulled it from this page and then I changed it from black, which is what it is, to the blue that is the background of this paper. So I used the eyedropper tool to pull up that blue, and that blue is, okay, I'm going to read it to you, 00163D as in Delta. Okay, 00163D. All right, and so I changed it from black to blue just using the paint tool because I was, you know, it was just easy. There's not, it's very bold lines. And then I used the magic eraser tool, or the magic wand actually, to delete the background so that it had a transparent background. And that's how I got the joy. Okay. So then I just centered it on the page. And then what I did too, so that it would show up on the page, is I put a glow behind it. So you can see here I've used the glow style for the layer. Okay. And I put a glow behind it, and I pulled this yellow for the glow from this star. Okay. So this is a yellow that is in the collection, and it is F as in Foxtrot, C as in Charlie, F as in Foxtrot, B as in Bravo, C as in Charlie, A as in Alpha. Okay, so the yellow that I used to make the glow is Foxtrot, Charlie, Foxtrot, Bravo, Charlie, Alpha. Okay. And I just pulled it out of that star with the eyedropper tool. And then I made my glow 100 pixel outer glow and 100% opacity. And what that did is it puts a blur, a light yellow blur behind it, so that it kind of diffuses what's behind it so that it shows up more. And is that all I did? Oh, no. On the bars, I did do a layer style on this, and I just gave it a drop shadow. Oh, did I bevel them? No, I am picking up the wrong thing. Okay. On the bars, I just did a drop shadow, 10-point drop shadow, 10 points away, 50% opacity. Okay, so here's the layer style for the bars that form the center of the window. And that's everything I did. Okay, so for those of you who do use Photoshop and do use the digital papers and you do like to manipulate them, if you want to make it look exactly like this, that's everything that you need. And of course you can pause and look at the layer styles to see everything, you know, so because this is all going to be on the video. All right. And then for that, you know, all I then did is I just printed two 6¼ inch by 11½ inch pieces of this paper to make my spine with. And then of course I printed the back cover as the front cover without any additions. And that's everything that I printed for this. All right, back to the craft desk. Okay, the question was, where do you get your presentation paper? Two places. Epson periodically has 50% off sales on paper. When they do, I get as much as I can afford. I try to stock up on them. Because that's the most economical way for me to get it, because I do have an Epson printer, and typically whatever printer you have, that brand's paper is going to give you the clearest picture, because of course all the software and firmware and all of that is geared towards that paper, right? And those inks are designed for that paper and vice versa. So because I have an Epson printer, the Epson paper is typically what works best for me. If I do run out of Epson paper, it's not something I'm willing to pay full price for, because that's not my favorite paper, actually. I love the koala paper, and koala paper is something that's should be on my Amazon idea list. My Amazon idea list is always linked in the video description of every single video, including the live shows. I'm just going to check Amazon to koala presentation paper. Now, koala presentation paper makes everything kind of blue. So if you want, yeah, they have it. All right, so If you want, let me check my list to make sure it's on there. If you want your paper to look as much like your monitor as possible, then you are just going to have to use whatever brand your printer is. So like in my case, my printer is Epson, therefore my paper is Epson. I do have the koala paper linked in the idea list. So you can go to the idea list and the koala paper will be on there. The exact one that I use actually will be on there, which is the Koala Thin Presentation Paper, double-sided matte for printing photos, 13 by 19 inches, 110 sheets, compatible with inkjet printer. This one, it just produces like a brighter, more vibrant print, and I like them a little bit better. And for the price, it's actually a really good price. And you don't have to know which side is up because it is double-sided. And it's super thin, and I do like that it's super thin. And the reason why is because it just doesn't add as much bulk to your album as the Epson does. Okay, so that is why I do like the koala. I will use the Epson if I have the Epson, just because it is more accurate and because that is like closer to reality for you when you're watching. But I don't know. I know it's like not great, but I like that koala paper. I do like that koala paper. Okay. Let us now talk about, once we have our paper, what do we do with it? So I'm going to draw a line 1 inch in from every edge. Okay. And that's going to give me a centering piece. And that way I have kind of a guideline of where to put my boards. And this will not show, so go ahead and use pen if you want. The problem with being prepared is just this whizzing through it like I'm on a cooking show or something, and Alton Brown is yelling at me about the clock. Yeah, just keep an eye on Epson because they do periodically put their paper on 50% off, and that's when you want to stock up. And I use the premium presentation matte paper is what I use in the Super B size, which is 13 by 19. All right. Oh, and when I was at Costco last, I saw that they had Epson Eco Tank inks there. Now, they didn't have my number, so they didn't have the number that goes in my printer, but they did have a full set of Eco Tank inks. So if you have an Epson Eco Tank, you might be able to get cheap ink at Costco. All right, so now that I have this, I am gonna tape the entire back, okay? You can also use liquid glue for this part. That is the finish of that I prefer, but it takes a lot longer, so I don't do it on camera because the drying time is just very long, and we're literally going to be sitting around watching glue dry. I mean, that is what happens, so. And then I'm just on this middle part, I'm going to go back and forth top to bottom until I don't have enough room left to do 2 more lines of tape. And then the final line of tape I'll just do, or I don't have enough room left to do a line of tape, and then I'll use my 1 inch tape right there in the middle. to finish it off. So this, or my 3/4 inch tape. All right, so that's that. Okay, now we're gonna just do the same thing again on the back cover piece. It's the exact same process. Now, if you don't print wide format but you do have the digital manipulation and all of that, you know, you can just print things in sections if you want, because so this is 10 3/4 inches wide. If you printed it, you know, at the top, what I would do is if you cut it in half plus 1 inch. Okay, so this is 13 inches. So on the first one, I would take like 7.5 inches. It's 13.5 inches. So I would take 7.5 inches from the top, print that, and then take the 7.5 inches from the bottom, print that, and then you can lay them over each other and make one long continuous piece of paper. So if you do want to like make it, but you don't have a wide format printer, you can kind of piece it together if you want to, and you would need to piece the paper together anyway because it is so long. And you do need something longer than 13. So even if I was using traditionally printed paper that I got from a manufacturer, I would have to design it in such a way that I could use 2 different designs. And now that we've already done this one, I know I can do 2 on the bottom and then 2 on the top, so I don't have to go back and forth. What is Alton Brown's? Oh, Iron Chef America. So I'm on Iron Scrap America or something like that. Okay, now, all right, now that these are taped, we're going to burnish, and then I'll show you how to put them together. Okay. And if you're looking for a written guide to doing this binding, doing this cover with, like, you know, slow instructional videos that talks about how to manipulate it for different sizes and things like that, then what you want from the Kathryn Scraps store is the Split Decision album, because this is the Split Decision binding that we're doing. I have 3 different bindings. We have the Infinity binding, the Beyond Infinity binding, and the Split Decision binding. This album used Split Decision. Okay, so if you want an in-depth look at the Split Decision album, plus you'll also get all the pages in the Split Decision book, so you get all the pages to make its own album. But it makes a 10 by 10 album, and it also is compatible with the pages from Twice the Fun. So that would be what you would look at. Split Decision Album Basics Guide would give you the binding for this if you want something like slowed down, you know, very focused, not live, basically. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel all this tape. Peel off all the tape. So you want the whole thing to be sticky. But if you have, I mean, of course, the whole thing's on the YouTube playlist. That's really if you just want a like a condensed, focused look at the binding itself. Okay. And it's in the archives as well. All right. So now that I've removed the tape backing, I can see my lines again. And all I have to do now is just line up my cover, my chipboard cover with my lines, okay? And that centers it in the book. Ta-da! Did I just throw away my bone folder? Oh, no, it's over here. Okay. You never know. Okay. All right, so now that I've burnished it, I'm going to cut the corners. So I'm going to be using a tool called the Perfect Trim tool. And I use the 0.0625 side. The 0.0625 side is the side that works for most craft chipboards. And so what I do is I line the corner of the chipboard up with the corner on the tool. And then I can just cut straight across. And that's going to perfectly miter the corner, okay? Now, if you don't have something like this, anything that's about the same thickness as this, okay, so even like your quilting rulers, if you have the glitter gang tool, anything that's about the same size, you can just kind of stand it up, okay, and then you can cut it with your craft knife. And that's going to give you a very similar effect. It won't be quite as perfect, and it's not quite as easy, but it's also going to be close enough that if you don't have this tool yet, and we do sell the tool as well, then if you don't have this tool yet, you can just use your ruler and get by. All right, now what I'm going to show you is how to fold the cover paper up, okay? So start with one side, any side. I like to start with the long side. And step one is you're going to run your bone folder under. Hey, kitty. Hi. How are you? You want to come say hi? No one's seen you in a while. Yay, kitty. Come here, kitty. Come here, kitty. Come on, say hi to your friends. Kitty. Unfortunately, she would rather chew a plastic bag. I wouldn't take it personally. She would rather chew a plastic bag than do most anything. She doesn't eat them. She just likes puncturing them with her teeth. She's purring up a storm. Okay. So step one is you're going to run the bone folder underneath it. Okay, so what you're doing here is you want to crisply crease the paper against the bottom edge of the chipboard. Okay, so just run your bone folder underneath it. Then you can see how it starts to lift. See how these are flat? This one lifts. Once it starts to lift, you're going to run it along the side of the chipboard. You want your paper to go straight up into the air. Okay, so that's step two. So step one is underneath, wrap it up. Step two, along the side, straight up. Step three, twist your wrist, and now you're going to wrap it over the top, okay? And then once it kind of folds over the top and stays over the top, then all you have to do is go like that, press it down, and then burnish. All right, now here's the important part. The way that you get the chipboard totally inside the paper, not to show at all, is that extra paper that's left by using the spacing tool, you're going to wrap it around. And the easiest way to wrap it around is to put your bone folder right on that finished edge and just rock it and then push it down. See now how I have this tiny little lip right there? That's what you want. All right, I'm going to do the other side. How many times have I described this process? Oh my gosh. Once you've done this a few times, you get very fast at it. It's very intuitive. You don't have to think about it. You don't need a tutorial. Okay? You can just do it. Like you'll get very used to it. All right, tucked in my two corners. Now we go up. He immediately comes over and starts putting his paw on it. It's almost like he knows. Do you know what's important in this world, Marcel? Do you? Marcel, everyone says, hi, Marcel. Oh, now he's on the arm of my chair. Hey! No fighting in the office. Okay. All right, this is done. Oh my gosh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't make a liner. I'm a terrible crafter. Marcel, your self-preservation drive is 0. 0. You just got punched in the face. And now you're going to jump on Kitty when she just punched you in the face? Kitty, you just stay here. You're safe here, okay? I just want to let you know that I'm going to be printing something in just 1 second. Don't get scared, okay? Don't get scared. Marcel, you're also cute. Okay. Where can they fight? They can fight on the porch because I can't stop them. I'm not going to run out to the porch every time I hear them fighting. Okay. So what do I need to do? I need to print a liner sheet for this. And I want to print something pink. So Marcel's flirting with Kitty. He's so funny. You're so funny, Marcel. You're so funny. Are you trying to make Kitty love you? Yeah? Do you think it's working? No? I don't think it's working either. Yeah, I do need 2 liners. Let's go over here. Okay. So I opened the pink sheets. So we have pink glitter. We have pink just like distressed. And then we have pink, the candy cane. And then we have the ornaments. And I think just the distressed solid. It's actually nice. I see how this whiter patch is kind of off center. I'm going to try to center that on the front and back covers. So let's just do this one. Let's just keep it simple. All right, so this one needs to be, the cover is 8 3/4 by 11 1/2, and it needs to be 1/8 of an inch shorter on the width and 1/4 inch shorter on the length. So the 8 3/4 becomes 8 5/8. Which is annoying on Photoshop. And then the 11 1/2 becomes 11 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this 8 3/4 by 11 1/4 and just cut that extra 1/8 off it myself. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to resize it to be 11 1/4 so I don't have to crop it top to bottom, which is 11.25. And then once that is the size that it is, I can just make it 8 3/4, which is 8.75. All right, and then that centers that little white area. Looks good. So I'm just gonna go drag it over here, drop it on the sheet, and I think I might, if I rotate it, be able to get both of them on here. Hey. Okay. All right, you're fine. Don't worry. Just relax. She's not that scary. All right, so I'm going to print this, and Kitty is sitting on the printer, so she's not going to be too happy about that. But she's just going to have to deal. She's just going to have to deal, right, Marcel? Right? Right, Marcel? No? No answer? Okay, fine. No answer. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to answer. Okay, now, Kitty, I just want you to know that you can be on this while it prints, and you don't need to get scared, all right? And I'm going to pet you just so you know that it's okay. Okay? Yep, you're fine. You're fine. You don't even care at all. You don't care even a tiny little bit. Okay. Marcel? Whatever. You're just going to have to... Oh, Marcel. Kitty, do not knock Marcel off the landing, or you'll be in big trouble, Kitty. Okay. All right. So hopefully Marcel will still be alive in 10 minutes. All right, so now I'm going to repeat this same process with the front cover. So remove all the tape. All right. And then put your chipboard in the middle. Okay. And then just repeat that whole process. So under first. So first we go under. Oh, no. First we cut the corners. You know, this would be the one time when cutting corners is strongly recommended. All right, so now we go underneath, then straight up, then towards the center, then flip and press, then burnish. Other side, underneath, straight up, towards the center, flip and press, burnish. Tuck your corners. Do the sides. Press, burnish, underneath, straight up, towards the center, press, burnish. Totally perfect, done, beautiful. All right, look at this corner. You see not one scrap of chipboard. It's just perfectly crisp, beautiful, wrapped. That's why you do that extra little, give yourself that extra little breathing room, and you'll be in good shape. Okay, now let me go cut. Whoa, Marcel, you almost died. So Kitty didn't care at all that something was printing. So, cool, cool, cool. Hi, Marcel. I know. You're so bored. You're so bored, baby. I know. Kitty's up here and she's not playing with you. With you, Marcel. You know, maybe if you don't try as hard, maybe if you just do your own thing, then Kitty will see that you have your own stuff going on, and then you'll be more interesting to her, you know? Attacking the paper as I'm trimming it does not count as doing your own thing, if you were wondering. Here. You want a paper scrap? Okay. All right, and then I just need to remove an extra 1/8 of an inch off the one side. I just remembered because it needs to be 8 5/8, not 8 3/4. Okay. All right. All right. Okie dokie. So now I have my liner sheets. Okay. And they're gonna look, oh yeah, they'll look perfectly fine. Okay. So with these liner sheets, we're just gonna cover them completely in tape. And I'm gonna ink the edges of these. And I did recycle the paper from earlier. Hello, Marcel. Are you back because no one chased you? I know. I know. It's no fun. Yeah. We're going to put the spine on before we put this on. I'm just trying to do everything I possibly can before I touch the spine so that the spine has maximum time to dry and settle. And then again, like I said earlier, ideally you would let your spine dry overnight. Now this one, I'll just put a piece in the middle. This isn't, only the edges of this really are structural. So it's not as big of a deal. Okay, I think Marcel has taken my advice and is doing his own thing. And he's actually doing it where Kitty can see him, and she is looking at him. So maybe this will work. Maybe. All right, and then I'm going to ink this, and then we'll have put it off as much as we can. We have to move on to the spine. Oh no, we have one more thing to do. We need to burnish this, and then I don't think I taped the the book itself, actually. So I don't think the book is ready to go in yet. So let me ink these and then I'll check the book. All right, so I'm just inking with brushed corduroy, which is what I've been using the whole album. All right, so there we go. And I dropped this, so. Okay, so let me get the album back. Oh no, I did tape the album. So never mind. We're ready to go. All right, we're ready to go. So let us unearth the spine because we will need it for this next part. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to my paper trimmer and I'm going to cut just a sliver off the top and the bottom of the short sides so that I know that they're totally even and there's no part that's sticking up like more than another part, I guess. And I'm just going to cut like a hair, okay, like 1/64 of an inch. It's just to make sure there's no black showing, really. Okay. So it would still be basically the same size when you're done. All right. And as you can see, it's basically the same size. There's no difference. Okay. So once your spine is double-sided, okay, you're going to take your ruler and you're going to make a 1-inch line lightly with a pencil. You cannot erase this line. This line will always be visible. Okay. So lightly. And I'm going to just shave the sides as well because I do have some black poking out on this one that I don't want to cause me problems later. Okay. So now it's a perfect rectangle. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up with, and it's on the outside that you're going to make this pencil line. So I'm going to line it up with the line on my desk and then make a mark 1 inch in from the edge, lightly with a pencil. Okay. This just has to be dark enough for you to see. This is how you're going to line up your cover. Okay. 1 inch in on the other side as well. Okay, now I'm going to take the 3/8 inch tape, my 3/8 inch tape, and I'm going to run a line right next to that pencil line, not on top of it. I want to be able to see the edge of the tape and the edge of the pencil line. And I'm going to have the tape go off the edge because I want to make sure it goes all the way to the top. So I'll just trim it with a craft knife later. Okay. And then one on the edge as well. Okay. Then I'm going to burnish, flip it over, trim. All right, so now we have that edge right there done. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. Okay, same exact process. Start off the edge, line your tape up with your pencil line so you can see the edge of your tape touching the pencil line. So you still want to be able to see the pencil line. Okay. All right, so once again, burnish and then trim. All right. Okay, now this is where everything starts to come together. Pretty soon we're gonna have a book. Okay, gonna peel your tape. I think this spine with the gold is gonna look amazing next to the cover with the navy. I think that's gonna look like very chic. Okay, so you're gonna take your front cover and you're going to line your front cover up with the pencil line. And I like to put it so that it kind of covers the pencil line. Okay? And then you flip it over and burnish. And really, really burnish. Okay? It is not possible to over burnish. All right, now flip it upside down. Take your ruler. Stick it next to your cover. Peel your tape. All right, the reason you want this ruler here, okay, so I'm pushing my cover against this ruler. When I come to put this guy down, the most important thing to me is that the back cover be in alignment with the front cover. So I'm just going to slide it in and press it down. Okay, flip it over, burnish. Okay, this is front cover, back cover, spine. Look at that spine with that cover. Come on. How beautiful is that? I knew that gold with the navy would be awesome. Okay. So Beverly, what I like about the tool, I mean, it's cuter than it used to be because the bronze and gold is nicer than the lime green. The problem is it doesn't have a stylus, and I did like having, oh my gosh, Marcel. I did like having that backup stylus. It's not the end of the world because I do always just keep a stylus in my Martha Stewart scoreboard, but I did like having that extra stylus there in a pinch. And it just doesn't have a stylus at all. So I do kind of miss a stylus, but other than that, the other thing is Marcel seems to be less afraid of it, which I don't love. So I think he should be terrified of it. And he does not, he doesn't even notice it. So, okay, friends. We're going to put the book in the book, okay? So here's how we do that. So this front flap that has Marcel teeth marks in it, Marcel, we're going to peel the tape. Okay. And then we're just going to line this edge up with this edge. It's as simple as that. And we're just going to center it top to bottom. Okay, once I've pressed it into place, I'm just going to let the album sit, and I'm just going to burnish it with a bone folder. Okay, so now we need to do the back cover. We're going to put the back cover on. And the way that we're going to do that is, this is the easiest way over the years that I have found. Okay, so rest the front cover against your chest. So my chest is off camera. You can't see my chest, but it is resting against my chest. My chest is holding it up. Peel your tape. And then once again, you're going to line this up with this. Now this time it's a little bit harder because you have to pull, but you can do it by pushing forward with your chest, okay? Pushing forward with your chest. And there. Ta-da! All right. Now, believe it or not, this is pretty much done. So I'm just going to kind of press down on it. I'm trying to flatten the curve of the spine just a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of rock it back and forth. So, like so. Okay. That's all. All right. Now, yeah, whole body crafting. Whole body crafting. Your chest is part of the steps, okay? All right. Now all we have to do is we just want to mask all where everything comes together, and that's what these are for. These just go right here and they clean the whole thing up. Okay? So I'm just going to peel this tape. And with this, what you want to do is you want to line this up with the score line on your book, and then again center it top to bottom. Okay, so you're lining it up with this score line right here. So you still want to be able to see that score line. And then what I like to do is I like to make sure it wraps all the way over that little hump. So I put a little crease there because I want to make sure it's really holding that in place. And that also has the added benefit of giving it kind of like a classic hardback book vibe, because if you ever look inside a hardback book, they do have a little crease there from where their own bindings are glued in. And that just smooths everything together. And then because we used 2-inch tape, it's taped here and here. So it's secured. This paper stack here is secured to the cover from this side as well by this extra line of tape that was here. Okay. And then we just do the same thing on the back. And then once I put this in, we're going to have a book. This is the last step. This is the only thing holding us back from bookage. Again, we're lining it up with this score line. So you see this score line here where this page is attached, and then this other score line here where just the flap, we want to be able to still see this score line when we're done. Okay, so I line it up next to that score line, not on top of, not over, not concealing, next to. Okay, so I'm going to burnish, and then I'm going to find the edge and make sure the paper wraps over the edge. Okay. And then we can just pull from there. All right. Then one more time, I'm just going to kind of rock it. This is just to flatten the spine. So the spine wants to have like a real C curve in it, just because the spine really wants to be straight. So by putting, it's going to try and back away from the book. So you just have to kind of gently train it. I'm not like mashing it down or anything. I'm just gently training it. And over time, see, it's already doing it. It'll flatten itself out. Won't you look at that? Joy to the world. There it is. Christmas 2022 in the bag. And it's not even November. It's not even Thanksgiving. So, ta-da! That gold spine with the paper is perfection. All right. So, how does this album work? Okay. Because the spine is flexible, all your pages lay flat. That's why we do it like this. It'll just move the curve. So that curve that we put in the spine, it'll just move it as it needs. It's going to move it on its own. You don't have to do anything. Okay? You can always, whatever page you want to look at, you can see it. Okay? Because the curve just moves with the spine. Because the spine is arched. Okay? The spine is arched. So functionally, what we've done is we've put an arch, we put two opposite arches in the spine. Okay? So what I refer to as the structural spine, which is this red spine, it's arched up off the desk. Excuse me. What I refer to as the decorative spine, which is this gold one, they're both structural. You need both of them, okay? This one is, this is the split decision binding Barberjean. That's why it reminds you of split decision. So split decision is a binding category now, not just an album style. So this is the second album to use a split decision binding. So now it's a third binding. So we have infinity binding, beyond infinity binding, and we have split decision. So we have 3 bindings now. So there we go. We got three bindings for all your binding needs. And then infinity is like normal pages. Okay, so this is an infinity binding. All right. This is just normal pages. See? They're just, you know, they're all the same size. They're spaced apart, whatever. This is infinity binding. And then beyond infinity is infinity, but be larger than 12 by 12. So do I have a beyond infinity right? Yeah, I do. Ugh. Okay. This is beyond infinity. So see, this is an 11.5 album. This is like 18 inches. Oh wait, this is not beyond infinity. This is lots of infinities stuck together. Just kidding. Oh, here's beyond infinity. See this? This is beyond infinity. This one is 15.5 inches. So beyond infinity is if you want your project to be bigger than 12 by 12. So that's beyond infinity. All right. Well, the 2 different size pages is the whole point of split decision. So the whole point of split decision is to have two different size pages. That's what makes it different from Infinity. So is that it has the two, you can put two different size pages in it. That's the substantial difference between Infinity binding and split decision binding. Is split decision, you wouldn't need to use the split decision binding if all your pages were the same height. If all your pages were the same height, you would just use the Infinity binding. So to use split decision, you would use it in albums where you wanted your pages to be two different sizes like this. Okay? All right, so, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's done. I mean, it's not done. it's not done, you know, but it's done-ish. I mean, it looks done. It looks done. It's done-esque. Done-ish. Mostly done. I love how done is basically binary. You can be done or undone. You can't be mostly done. I'm almost done. Almost doesn't count. Doesn't count. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to do a recording break. We are going to get as much done on the green things as we can between now and 11. And at 11, whatever we have done, we have done. We'll do a recording break. We'll do a final flip through so that the whole album is all together in one video. And then we will be done for the night. And that'll finish off this playlist. This playlist will have almost 35 videos in it. Almost 35 videos. All right, so let us do a recording break. So if you are watching live, then just hang tight. Nothing's going to change for you. If you are watching in the archives or in the YouTube playlist, go ahead to the next video to see how we decorate the insides of these. Okay. And then I'll see all of you in the next class. And classes are every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time and 9 p.m. Eastern USA time. Starting next week, October 20th, 2022, we will begin the Coffin album. It's going to be coffin shaped. The pages are going to be coffin shaped. We're going to bind it in such a way that it will preserve its coffin shape. We're going to have plenty of room for 4x6 photos as well as paper showcasing. And it should be quick and easy. It should be quick and easy. It should be quick and easy. So it will be quick and easy. It will. It will. It will be quick and easy. So be sure to join us for that so you can get your Halloween papers showcased. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye now.